Hi beautiful, you're welcome back to my channel. Today we are continuing with the part 2 of this beautiful tutorial. Kindly subscribe, turn your notification bell to get notified, and drop your comments. So let's get into the class. So I'm going to have to cut my scraps. You do well to still maintain your leveling. So you go ahead, iron it properly. You can see multiple cutouts. That is because I'm making this as a badge. I'm not just making one, I'm making multiple as a badge. So that's why for each cutout you find out that they are up to 3, as you can see. So you go ahead and give these a nice press and add your interfacing to each of them. So go ahead and iron these. Now I've already ironed some, as you can see. I've ironed this number 2, number 3, number 3, number 2, number 3, and number 4. I've ironed these ones. Now, as you can see, I added enough allowance. As you can see, I added enough allowance round each of these. Added enough allowance so that they can overlap each other. So this is what I will do for the rest of my cutouts, and then we'll proceed. We are bringing back our pattern. Remember, this was the one that was saved. So I'll be tracing out this place, this scarf, because I don't want a lot of stitchings to be behind this cloth. So I want to trace out this part of this drawing where I'm going to be drawing my patches, my temporal patches. So what I will do is get this small pattern paper. First of all, I place the pattern here this way. Then I'll be placing this piece of pattern paper, and I'll make sure that what I have covers. Yes, it does. It covers. So I'm going to pin this down. I'm going to pin this down. This out to come out of the pattern paper. Gone ahead to cut my scarf, and number 9, that's the eyebrow, which is my number 9. So let's get on. So I've gone ahead and cut this out. As you can see, my allowance. So there is a reason for all this allowance. That is because I'm going to be enlarging my image just a little bit. So these allowances are to cover for that little enlargement. As you can see, this is the back. I've applied my interfacing, and these are multiple layers because, like I said, I'm producing this. And here we are on the ironing part. For this, you have to be calm, you have to be cool, and you have to take your time. So you would need your hemming gum. Is very vital because it will hold all these pieces down for you and make sewing very much easier. So we are going to be starting
on one of the scarves. I'm trying to choose which one I'm going to start on. So yes, I have started on pinning. You know, you would want to arrange your pieces by their numbers so that it will be easier to pick. Yes, it makes your work easier to pick. And as you place your your fabrics, you look out for the combination. One has to, blend into the other. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same color and all that. So, but it's just part of it that when it's all put together, it looks beautiful. So you go ahead and align your pieces. You can see what I'm doing. You want to fold a lot inside so that they will overlap. Now for this number 2, which is the first one, you want to make sure you have some allowance at the upper part where it will blend in for the number 1. Then you use your hemming gum, hem them down, and it makes this work much more beautiful, much more easier when you are sewing. Okay, so make this hemming gum your friend. I use it for all my sewing. So if you look closely at what I'm doing, you set it very well, then you give it a good press. Here you're going to be needing your steam iron. It will go a long way to make this work very much easier. So having done your number 1, having done your number 2, yes, that's the number 2. The number 1 is a black cutout. Yes, so it's going to serve as the natural packed hair of the lady. Yes, so we're going on with the number 2. I'm trying to make the choice for my fabrics, the one that I'm going to use for this particular one. So you go ahead and make sure that all your colors are blending. Yes, so you place it, folding your overlap allowance, and give it a good press. Here you don't have to rush this, you just have to take your time. Make sure your work is properly aligning, make sure it's everything are the way it should be. You iron, then add your what is it called, hemming gum. Don't forget to overlap. You fold in the excess. I mean, doing this is going to make your work very neat when you know taking some of those allowance. Even if you're using a straight stitch, a zigzag machine, it has a way of coming out very properly, and it blends properly. It makes the whole thing look neat. So don't rush this process. Take your time, do a lot of ironing, and your work will be easier. It will come out more neat, and you will not have a whole lot of hassle when you are sewing. So keep watching to see what I'm doing, and it just takes practice. Actually, just practice and you'll be fine. Just practice and practice and practice and you'll be fine. So like I said earlier, you must not make your image so complicated. You can divide it into what will be easier for you to work with. It's just that the more cutouts you have, the more combinations you have, the more beautiful it becomes. But then start with what you can handle. So keep watching and you will see how it's done. Yes, it's coming out so beautiful. That's how you're going to place one another on the other and the other, and it will all be completed.
Okay, so I've gone ahead to iron everything. Like I told you, I'm preparing 3. That's There is no how you do this that it will not come out looking so unique and beautiful. Let me see. So I'll go ahead and stitch on these joinings, these folded edges. Now, the advantage of the hemming gum is that it holds this in place for you. So while sewing, you don't struggle, you don't, it's not a case of hit or miss. This is the back. So go ahead, stitch on these edges. Stitch on these edges, as you can see, on these edges. Now, if you have a zigzag stitch, it's usually decorative when you do so, because I'll be using my zigzag stitch to stitch it down. That way it makes it more beautiful and decorative. So but when you don't have a zigzag stitch, please kindly use your straight stitch to hold the piece down. So when you are done stitching it, you find out that all the stitches are here and not on the cloth itself. So we are going to be making this image as neat as possible. So I will go ahead and do this and come back. And now this is the material that we are going to be using for the face of my image. So I'll get my image, see, I'll get it, clean it, and I've already sorry, I've added my interfacing. This material is very light, so I used about 3 layers of hairstay to make it stable. So I'll go ahead and pin this so that we'll be cutting out the image itself. So take your time and pin. Go ahead, cut out this image. And as you can see, I'm adding some a little allowance around it. That is because the measurement I'm working with is I want this image to be a little bit larger than what is drawn here, because the size I'm working with is quite uh, big. So I want the image to be a little bit more bigger than this, so that when you place it on the back of the jacket, it won't be too small for that size. But if you're working for a petite person that is a bit of the smaller size, and you think that your image may be a little bit too big, all you have to do is to just cut exactly the size of what you have. You can even go ahead and make it a bit smaller when you are done cutting. So but for me, I want it a little bit enlarged, so that's why I am adding some inches on it. So as you can see, I'm still following every curve and every shape that I had in this. So do this, do not rush, do not be in a hurry. It's cutting out our image. As you can see, it's already coming out so beautiful and fun. Okay, our cutout is ready, and I'm going to be introducing my number 1, my number 8, and number 9, which is the eye Here is the material that
brow.
I cut out
For
from
these,
number
I'm
one.
using a sweat lace. As you can see, it's a sweat lace. So it's going to be sitting where the natural hair is supposed to. Yes, it's going to give it the illusion of, a human hair. So I'll take this aside. We go to the ironing table and put all this together.
So
Guys,
go
that's where the
ahead and
magic
assemble this
happens.
together.
Yes, fashion designers are magicians now. All
So
right.
here it is. So go ahead and you can always refer back to your image. You can always refer back to your image anytime you are confused. But this is quite easy to follow. So we are going to be following this part just like we did for every other one. Fold it inwards. Okay, we are done ironing. So I use my hemming gun to hold this down. The thickness of it is again difficult for it to hem, but at least it has stayed in place. So what I will do now is to turn the back and trim off the excess that I have. I'll trim them off. Still following the shape of my drawing.
If you've gotten this far in this tutorial, kudos to you. Kudos to you. It's not easy. So having had our you know coupling ready, you would want to get our eyebrow. So what I did here was to get my pattern and placed it on the image. Remember, the image is a little bit bigger than my drawing. So here I'm using my invisible pen. This pen goes off with heat, so I'm going to use it to get the position of my eyelashes. Yes, we are trying to get the lashes, the drawing of the lashes onto the material, onto the project that we are working on. So what I'm doing is using my pen, my invisible pen, to get the, you know, the arc of the eyelash onto the cloth. Yes, so what I'm doing is to, you know, want to my pen to get to the cloth so that I can see the arc in the way it's drawn, and I'll now use my pen to now draw it out very well. Now for this part, all you need is your straight stitch. Yes, you're gonna to be needing your straight stitch for this, and you have to really take it slowly. Yeah, so you follow the drawing, the lashes, the way it is, you follow it gradually. You can back stitch if you can. Yes, you can back stitch to make it thicker, but if you can back stitch, you can as well, you know, run the stitches over like twice or so to make it very pronounced. Yes, so I'm going, this drawing is going to guide me on my stitch. So this has to be a straight stitch to give it that illusion of the lady closing her eyes and her lashes just standing elegantly. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. And what the arc I'm putting below is so that my stitch will not exceed that lower arc. Yes, it's going to serve as a guide. So it's already coming out so beautiful, don't you think? At this point, please kindly subscribe, tap on the notification bell, and leave your comments down in the comment section. Yes, those places I'm pointing, please go ahead and stitch them down. Your eyebrow, um, between the number 1 and number 2, stitch those places down. Don't forget to leave some certain space at the last down material so that you be able to insert your earrings. Then I'll also go ahead, use my bias tape to run round the image, round the edges of the image, because I find out that if you want to, you know, overlap just the way like I'm showing you right now, it has a way of distorting the image itself. So I have made a way of using a bias tape to run it round. This way, when you are done and you iron, the shape remains and everything is still intact.
And turn it to the wrong side this way. Give it a good press. I'll show you when I'm done with it. Here we are. I've used my straight stitch. I've used my straight stitch to do this one, to make the brow, the lashes. Then I've gone ahead to use my bias tape to, you know, turn the image all through. Now you want to notch all these curves, please kindly notch so that it will be easy. So all you have to do now is you turn an iron, you turn an iron. See, when you turn, you give it a good press. That's what you do until this whole thing turns inside out. You turn it, you see, from the right side to the wrong side. Now you see that after you are done ironing, you will notice that your shape still remains, unlike when you are folding it manually.
Okay, love. lovelies, we're gonna be stopping here because I don't want these videos to be too long. I want the steps to be very, very practical. So I'll see you on the next one, the concluding part of this, so that it doesn't get boring. See you.